Hello everyone, I am Manisha, Faculty of MBA Department from Technia Institute of Advanced Studies. Today I am going to deliver my lecture on the topic known economic factors affecting entrepreneurial growth. The first known economic factor which affects the entrepreneurial growth is social factors. Social factors can go a long way in encouraging entrepreneurship. In fact, it was a highly helpful society that made the Industrial Revolution a glorious success in Europe. The social setting in which the people grow shapes their basic beliefs, values, and norms strongly affect the entrepreneurial behavior, which contribute to entrepreneurial growth. The main component of social environment are as follows. The number one, caste factor. There are certain cultural practices and values in every society which influence the actions of individuals. These practices and values have evolved over hundreds of years. For instance, consider the caste system among the Hindus in India. It has divided the population on the basis of caste into four divisions: the Brahmana, the Kshatriya, Vaishya, and the Shudra. It has also defined limits to social mobility of individuals. By social mobility, we mean the freedom to move from one caste to another. The caste system does not permit an individual who is born a Shudra to move to a higher caste. Thus, commercial activities were the monopoly of the Vaishyas. Members of the three other Hindu Varnas did not become interested in trade and commerce, even when India had extensive commercial interrelation with many foreign countries. Dominance of certain ethnical group in entrepreneurship is a global phenomenon. The second social factor which affects the entrepreneurial process is family background. This factor includes size of family, types of family, and economic status of family. In a study by Hadimani, it has been revealed that Zamindar family helped to gain access to political power and exhibit higher level of entrepreneurship. Background of a family in manufacturing provided a source of industrial entrepreneurship. Occupational and social status of the family influenced mobility. There are certain circumstances which very few people would have to be venturesome. For example, in a society where the joint family system is in vogue, those members of the joint family who gain wealth by their hard work denied the opportunity to enjoy the fruits of their labor because they have to share their wealth with other members of the family. The third social factor is education, which affect the entrepreneurial process. That is education. The education enables one to understand the outside world and equips him or her with the basic knowledge and skills to deal with day-to-day problems. In any society, the system of education has a significant role to play in inculcating entrepreneurial values. In India, the system of education prior to 20th century was based on religion. In the rigid system, critical and questioning attitudes toward society were discouraged. The caste system and the resultant occupational structure were reinforced by such education. It promoted the idea that business is not a respectable occupation. Later, when the British came to our country, they introduced an education system just to produce clerks and accountants for the East India Company. The base of such a system, as you can well see, is very anti-entrepreneur. Our education methods have not changed much even today. The emphasis is still on preparing students for standard jobs rather than marking them capable enough to stand on their feet. The next social factor is attitude of the society. A related aspect to these is the attitude of the society towards entrepreneurship. Certain societies encourage innovations and novelties and thus approve entrepreneurs' actions and rewards like profits. Certain others do not tolerate changes, and in such circumstances, entrepreneurship cannot take root and grow. Similarly, some societies have an inherent dislike for any money making activity. It is said that in Russia in the 19th century, the upper classes did not like entrepreneurship. For them, cultivating the land meant a good life. They believed that land belongs to God and the produce of the land was nothing but God's blessings. Russian folk tales, proverbs, and songs during this period carried the message that making wealth through business was not right. The next social factor is cultural values. Motive impel men to action. Entrepreneurial growth requires proper motive like profit making, acquisition of prestige, and attainment of social status. Ambitious and talented man would take risk and innovate if these motives are strong. The strength of these motives depend upon the culture of the society. If the culture is economically or monetarily oriented, entrepreneurship would be applauded and praised. Wealth accumulation as a way of life would be appreciated. In the less developed countries, people are not economically motivated. Monetary incentives have relatively less attraction. People have ample opportunities of attaining social distinctions by non economic pursuits. Men with organization abilities are therefore not dragged into business. They use their talents for non economic ends. Apart from social factors, there are some psychological factors which affect the entrepreneurial process. Many entrepreneurial theorists have propounded theories of entrepreneurship that concentrate especially upon psychological factors. These are as follows. Number one is need achievement. The most important psychological theories of entrepreneurship was put forward in the early 1960s by David McClelland. According to David McClelland, need achievement is a social motive to excel that tends to characterize successful entrepreneurs, especially when reinforced by cultural factors. He found that certain kinds of people, especially those who became entrepreneurs, had these characteristics. Moreover, some societies tend to reproduce a larger percentage of people with high need achievement than other societies. McClellan attributed this to sociological factors. Differences among societies and individuals accounted for need achievement being greater in some societies and less in certain others. The theory states that people with high need achievement are distinctive in several ways. They like to take risks and these risks stimulate them to greater effort. The theory identifies the factors that produce such people. Initially, McClellan attributed the role of parents, especially the mother, in mastering her son or daughter to be masterful and self reliant. Later, he put less emphasis on parent child relationship and gave more importance to social and cultural factors. He concluded that the need achievement is conditioned more by social and cultural reinforcement rather than by parental influence and such related factors. The second motive is a psychological factor, that is motives. The other psychological theories of entrepreneurship stress the motives or goals of the entrepreneur. Cole is of the opinion that besides wealth, entrepreneurs seek power, prestige, security, and service to society. Stepanek points particularly to non-monetary aspects such as independence, person's self-esteem, power, and regard of the society. On the same object, Evans distinguishes motives by three kinds of entrepreneurs. Number one, managing entrepreneurs whose chief motive is security. Number two, innovating entrepreneurs who are interested only on excitement. Number three, controlling entrepreneurs who above all others motives want power and authority. Finally, Rostow has examined intergenerational changes in the families of entrepreneurs. He believes that the first generation seeks wealth, second prestige, and the third art and beauty. So I hope you guys understand the topic, that is non-economic factor which influence the entrepreneurial growth. Thank you very much.